freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from your lies. You're so self-satisfied. I don't need you. I've got to break free.
Oh, and who knows?
God knows.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows. Everybody knows Ernie wants to just break free, and I'm sure a bunch of y'all do, too. And a lot of the ways to do that involve being financially independent. You know, and it's not even necessarily being wealthy, whatever that means, but I'm telling you, you know, you just want to be able to retain the value of your goodies. And if you got a big, giant stack of goodies in somebody's bank, it's all gone, man. They already did it once. They're going to do it again. They said, everybody all in, all your pension, all your IRAs, 401ks, you know, got all your money markets, got your pensions, your retirement, it's all your nest eggs sitting in our little nest here. It's all, you know, it's ours now. Thanks for playing. Well, you know, a lot of people knew this was coming. You know, Bernard did. Bernard von NotHaus, he's on the show with us today, and we are getting a history of the Liberty Dollar and then where we're going. Because he's got a big giant anvil, you know, hanging above his head, and he wants to tell us all about it. Now, Bernard, go ahead and tell us where you left off. Okay, you have a gentleman in Hawaii is very excited about your capacity to make beautiful paper money, and he's sharing what with you, and where'd it go from there?
Well, actually, I decided right there on the spot, Ernie, that for the first time in 23 years, I would share with this friendly stranger, as you might say, that about my project, about my paper currency project. So I decided to use him as a focus group of one. So I gave him some information. Oh, he revealed, and oh, he loved it. So I told him something else. Oh, God, he was even more enthusiastic. And as I told him some more things, he asked me, he says, I want to order something. I said, well, I haven't even produced it yet. He goes, when can I get it? You know, I said, well, I'm just in the early stages of putting this together. And at that moment, he, fell into a trance. He went into deep thought. And he looked back up at me, and he goes, Bernard, he says, do you know about the Federal Reserve? I broke out and laughed. I said, well, yeah. I said, I know about the Federal Reserve. I said, I know about all that fiat currency and all that crap. And he got a big smile on his face. He says, well, he says, you know what? He says, I think you ought to take this new currency model, this brand new invention that you just told me about. He says, you ought to take it to America. I said, no, wait. I said, man, that's heresy. I'm here in the most beautiful place in the world. I said, you know, I'm kicked back on the beach. I'm mint master of the mint. I'm having a good time living on Diamond Head. Why in the hell would I ever want to go back to the mainland? He says, well, I think your country needs it. Quite frankly, right there on the spot there, he really stopped me in the tracks, Ernie, and he made me feel like I really should do it. And over the next few days, weeks or so, I gave the thoughts a lot of consideration. And I've been doing the mint for 25 years. Kids were off to college, and I'm going, you know, this is kind of a time when I could actually change my life and do something else and do something patriotic. And I had learned along the way, Ernie, as I'm sure you're aware, that the duty of every citizen of a republic is to put forth their best efforts towards their country. And if the government's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then it is the duty of the citizen to do what is right for the country. And so I took that and I said, damn it, I'm going to lease out the mint, and I'm going to retire, and I'm going to take my little currency project, and I'm going to change it. So, and I removed the Kamehameha statue, and I put in the head of the Liberty statue, and I changed it from the Hawaiian sovereign currency to actually the very first name, Ernie, a very unknown fact I share with you, is that the very first name of the currency was the Patriot. It wasn't American Liberty currency or anything. It was the Patriot. And the whole thing was about issuing a paper currency. You know, that was my mission, you know, was to issue a paper currency that was 100% gold and silver backed, and it was called the Patriot. And if you look on the paper currency that you have there in that drawer at home, you will read that on the very front of every single piece of paper currency, it says the acceptance and use of this $1 Liberty Dollar receipt is an exercise of the bearer's First Amendment right to petition the government for a silver-based currency as mandated by the U.S. Constitution. So originally it didn't start out to be silver necessarily. We had to have silver to back up the currency. So we minted the silver, we developed the paper currency, we issued the paper currency, and we made the silver available. Lo and behold, the market response to the silver was overwhelming. People liked the paper currency. They liked the idea of the petition. Well, liked everything about it, but they still preferred to have that real silver in their hands. And that's basically what happened.
So when did you start to phase out the paper, or did it
Never did.
So it
Never
always...
did. Paper is still there. Matter of fact, we branched out from the paper. My memory is terrible, but I think it was about 2005 was when we brought in the digital Liberty Dollar. So we had it both in paper, specie, and in digital form. And the digital was 100% backed up. They were digital warehouse receipts that you could cash in, and you could take the silver if you wanted to.
Okay, so now we have paper. We have the actual minted silver, and I would imagine gold and copper eventually went to. And then we have...
Eventually, and platinum.
And so now we have the big bad guys. They came to the attention of, because why? At what point did the government start getting involved and you getting visits from black men in suits?
Well, actually, the
Or
government
men in
started
black
getting
suits.
involved. The government started getting involved in 1999. Now, remember, we issued the currency first, October 1st, 1998. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of chatter or even articles. There was one huge article in the Honolulu newspaper that a good friend of mine, a reporter with the Honolulu Advertiser, that he put together a great article. But it wasn't until 1999, the following year, which was the first full year, that the Liberty Dollar actually started rolling. And by the way, it wasn't even called Liberty Dollar back then. It was called America's Liberty Currency. It's like marketing. You don't really come up with the best marketing names and phrases and taglines right out of the box. That comes about through experience. But in 1999, there were several different articles written, Ernie, and a lot of those people, particularly like the one in Florida, the Bonita Daily News, they ran a very, very good article, but only after they went to the U.S. Treasury and asked them for an opinion if the Liberty Dollar was legal. They weren't going to write an article about something that was illegal, even though they write articles about politicians and murderers, which isn't legal, all the time, right? So they went to the U.S. Treasury, and they ended up getting an opinion from the Claudia Dickens, who's the spokesperson there, that the Liberty Dollar was legal. And so they came back and they wrote this big article, and from that moment on, the government participated in dozens of different articles.
Well, when we come back, we're going to find out at what point did they think it was illegal. Well, you stay right there and you're going to find out for Bernard von NotHaus, the Liberty Dollar Man. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence here from Freedom's Phoenix in just a little bit.